Hi everyone, it's Jordi back with another episode of the Origins podcast by the Esports Awards, where we speak to your favorite creators, esports talent players, and everyone in the industry that has a nice story to tell. And well, speaking some people with some nice stories today, I'm joined by Matt Pereira, who was manager of some of the biggest influencers, let's say, in Brazil and gaming industry up there. Hi Matt, how are you?
Hi, Jordi. I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation and for considering me to this podcast. As you guys already know, I'm like a huge fan and a huge fan of the Esports Awards in general. So I'm happy to be sharing this time with you guys.
It's great to have you here. Like you've been behind of some of the biggest, let's say, brands and also biggest names in the esports and gaming industry in Brazil. So you probably has a lot of tell us. So how year has been so far? What you have been up to this year?
It's been amazing. It's been a funny and kind of new year for us here, especially for me, because I shifted from managing the talents that we used to. Now I'm more focused on the strategy and success of the campaigns that we put out for all the clients that we have here in Brazil at 3C Gaming. So most and foremost, what we do here is basically we create strategies for brands. Either they are already from gaming, like game developers and publishers, or they are just regular brands and big retail brands that want to communicate and want to talk with our gaming audience. And now what I have here is a team, and I lead this team with the success of these campaigns and these clients. So it's been fun. I mean, it's a different lifestyle, to be honest, because I was used to manage two talents and just completely different way of working and way of living, actually, because it all comes down to availability at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great. You're gonna go deep on all the topics that you touched there. But let's start. We want to know like you from since the beginning. So how you get into the industry and all of that. So let's jump a little bit like
Okay.
early in your career. So how like everything started for you? How your journey into the talent managing and gaming started?
Okay, it's been like 10 years now. It's been a while, especially for like the gaming and esports industry in Brazil. That's not that huge, and it's it's beauty in itself. Like we are already in a great spot, but since then it's been a ride. I've always played games. I always watched it, and I mean it's part of the person. It's part of who I am actually. But I was working at news portal. So I was working at a news portal in Brazil. They did a commercial partnership with Azubo. It was a live streaming platform. And I was the only one, the only salesperson that knew Azubo back in the day. So I was responsible for our communication and our relationship from the news portal here in Brazil and the Azubo, the live streaming platform. With that, that was like my entry gateway to the esports and gaming world. From there, that's where I started knowing people and both in Brazil, Latin America, a part of US. So I get to know people from Twitch. It was my next move, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that was like back in 2015. I was used to selling ad space and banners, and here I am.
And how did like because it's quite different from going from salesperson like that sells ads and media spots to managing like talent at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
how did that happen at at like which moment you said, oh okay, so I want to do that, that's completely different, I'm going to shift my career to that position and go in that direction?
Oh, it was pretty quick actually, because the sales position is obviously very strategic for any company, and usually when you are good with people, you tend to be good with sales because you get to nurture and create long-lasting relationships that you can thrive on when you try and sell your projects, especially in a country like Brazil, and a lot of Latin America is based on relationships that you build. So that's where I first started at the sales side. But then quickly I realized that I was way more into people and the relationships that you build than the sales and the money that you bring to the table straight away. So it was like easy for me to understand where I would like to stand in this scenario, in all this environment. I took my time in sales because I didn't want to rush things at all. So I moved from Azubo, selling Azubo, to Silent Witch, then to IGC, the group that is the owner of MIBR, Gamers Club, the Counter Strike platform here in Brazil. All that in sales position, and mostly because I was offered like sales manager role. So I started a little bit more working with the team and managing people. But after that, there was the opportunity to work at Garena with the influencers, with the Free Fire influencers. So that was like the great shift of my career that brought me to the point where I am right now, because that's exactly what I was envisioning for my future, my career, is the possibility to work within games and esports, but directly with people, with talents. As we were the publishers, we were interested, of course, in their content production of Free Fire back in the day. So it was a lot more about their content and the strategy that they would put out for our game, because
Mm-hmm.
they were our media outlets basically. And that led me to building relationship with basically every Free Fire influencer in Brazil, which were a lot back in the day. Free Fire was huge. It's still like an amazingly huge game, but back in the days, especially with the pandemic when it hit, it was like off the charts. So that's it. I mean, I'm all about with the people that I meet throughout my journey and the relationships that I built. So being able to get all my knowledge, all my know-how, all my background, and transfer it to someone, like to a person, and helping them build their career, their strategy, their future, their content. That's like what really put me in the spotlight, to be honest. That brought me to a lot of great places. And that's where I thrive the most. That's what I love to do.
Nah, absolutely. I mean, you're great with people. We've met like for 3 years now. We know each other, or 2, 3 years. It's been a while, and
Yeah.
I've seen how charming you are to everyone. So that's a kudos for you up there. And also, I'm sure like that where you're already like where you go to influence and to your influencer and that stuff is how you get to know them. Like you're a great guy. So yeah, and I believe all of that led to your relationship with Nobru and Cerol, right? Like how everything began, how you started that relationship with them.
Yeah, it's a great story, because actually that's what brought me to 3C in general as well, because both Nobru and Cerol, they were part of the Corinthians Free Fire, the Free Fire team that won the Brazilian tournament and the World tournament back in the day. Nobru was a professional player. Cerol was a streamer slash influencer for Corinthians Free Fire. And Corinthians Free Fire was managed by IGC, the group that I was working with back in the day. But as I mentioned, I was the sales manager, so I didn't have a lot of like close contact with these guys. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I knew their life and their content and their numbers upside down, because I had to sell them and
Mm-hmm.
sponsorships and all. But we had like minor interactions. After that, when they left Corinthians Free Fire to found Fluxo, their esports organization, that's when 3C was born. At first, with Renan, he built a company specifically to manage Nobru, Cerol, and their team. And we was to work together. He was working at IGC as well back in the day. And he called me and he said, "Hey, uh, this is the move that we're making. We are building this company to be with Nobru, Cerol, and Fluxo. And to be honest, you are the best person that I can imagine and envision to handle our relationship and their careers." I was like, obviously, very excited and flattered with that kind of honesty, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, of course, like a little concerned, because there's, of course, the bonus, and I totally believe in myself and the way that I could build a relationship. But I was like, if you're doing this, and they are the only clients that 3C is going to have, basically. So we cannot mess this up, you know. And I didn't have back in the day that much of a close contact to them. That's exactly in the same date that there was an opportunity to move to Garena. So that's the shift that I made. It made sense. I talked to the guys and I was like, dude, I'm going to work at Garena. I'm going to get closer to all the influencers, understand better of their world, their environment, the Free Fire ecosystem, and of course, like give a special attention to Nobru and Cerol. So that's what I did. I spent a couple of years in Garena just like building up more of the talent manager side of myself as a professional and not only as a person. And it all made sense. So I came back to 3C as planned. I joined here to be the manager and the agent for Nobru and Cerol.
Nah, that's a great story. And I mean, none of that, like to build those relationships, one of the most important things are trust, of course. And I think you're a guy like for how long you've been with them and how your relationship was with them and still is. That would be like great to hear from you. How do you build that trust, like that? How you build that thing that made you guys be a team and for them to trust you on that level? Like it's like you are like almost their dad, and on that level where you are there for them every day for everything and solving all the problems they have. So how do you build that trust to make them like feel they can count on you at any time, any day?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for that. Because what I always say is like the most challenging part of the talent manager job, especially the kind of we did, because we weren't only looking for like sales and advertisement deals and all. We were basically like their father. I like to put it as I older brother to be fair with their parents, like more of an older brother that you can count on. And the most challenging part of that is the availability. What shifts and what makes you a great talent manager is the availability that you have and that you give to your talents, you know. Because the thing is, the job itself, of course, it requires a lot of hard skills and you have to understand their content, trends, and what is working, what is not, what is the best fit in the brand for them to produce some content, where to pitch. Well, like you have to understand that, of course. When it comes to building trust and being reliable, you have to be available. You have to be available. That's like the number one thing. Because again, they counted on us and especially on me for anything. And you've seen that a couple of times. Like, I want to know where should I take my date to dinner. And I know you know great restaurants. Can you find me one? Can you book a reservation? We have to travel, like flight tickets, hotels, being their translator because they don't speak English. And again, the work itself. So, where should I take my content? What should I do next? And another thing that comes with it is that you have to be true. I mean, you have to be honest with them all the time. You have to understand when to push, when to let go a little bit, because at the end of the day, they're a person. Like they are persons. They are human. So what I always say is that it's easy to work with them once you remember that they are their own human beings, because again, as someone so famous and rich, to be honest, it's very easy to have a lot of yes men in your life. So people that come and go and just they go with the flow and say yes to wherever you want, wherever you have as an idea, even like in the personal life or professional life, your content and all. And you have to be the one like with a clear mind to help them see maybe different point of views and what they should be doing. And this is tricky
Hmm.
because there comes ego, it's pride involved. So if they want to do something and you are the one that is expected to say, hey, maybe that's not the way that we should do things, you have to be prepared to kind of like the barriers that they put up and the obstacles that you might face. Because again, you are going against a person's will. So just like it happens in life, when
Mm-hmm.
someone tries talks us out of something, we usually say, "Nah, I want to do things my way. I know better." So to
Mm-hmm.
try and find a balance between being the person that helps them achieve what they want as a person, but also gives them a sense of a different point of view and how things can work, it's very tricky. So, a lot comes to understanding the relationship that you build and understanding the other part. It comes from understanding the human being before understanding the influencer, the streamer, the brand, the deal, the project, or whatever. But because it's all about the people that are involved, you know. So that's how you. That's at least how I built it. It's been available for them and being honest with them, even with some hard truths that sometimes they didn't want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's always a tricky part, like with dealing with people and dealing with like huge people with early success and money, like at those early stages of life. Because Nobru, if I'm not wrong, he's still like not even 25, I would say. So they're always a bit older, but still like they're super young to have that level of fame. Do you think that the ego or dealing with their egos will be like one of the most challenging parts of your job, or how do you help them to overcome that and understand like brands and how brains work and understand that that's a common, like, let's work together because everyone wins in that situation in which, okay, maybe I don't want to do that, but if you do that, it's going to bring you more things in the future. So do you think that one of the most like challenging parts, like to deal with their ego and how to change like their mentality on, oh, let's like work together even if you don't want to do this right now, maybe if you just do that a little bit, like if you work this like a little bit in the future, is going to be like much better for all of us. So how do you think like this works? Do you think this was one of the key parts of your job, or yeah, how do you see that?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's usually what breaks people, to be honest, when they try and work with influencers, because we have to always consider that ourselves, we have our own egos. So it's natural. And it comes to a clash of egos most of the times because you want to handle and tune down a little bit their ego, but sometimes you feel that your ego is on the line. So, how do you put that aside? How do you find the balance between where you stand, where they stand, what is fair, what is not? And that's tricky because, as you mentioned, they are young, they came out of nowhere with little to no previous background and some strategy or planning ahead with their lives. And then, boom, fame happened, money happened, and that gives you access. Money and fame gives you access. You are on top of the world. You get the sense that everything that you want to, you can get. And in a way, for them, like for the talent itself, it kind of is like this because they are in their own world. They are their own life. As I'm worried with my own life, at the end of the day, they are worried with theirs. So that's it. That's most of the challenging part is understanding, as I mentioned, that is another human being. So it comes from different parts of his past, of his inner self. So it's not like just, hey, today I woke up in a bad mood just because, so blah, 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 and things are going to go in a bad way. No, maybe
Mm-hmm.
he's got something with his family or with the type of content that he's creating and he doesn't like or he doesn't agree with something. So how do you manage that? How do you say, hey, I get it, I understand, I can hear you, but
Mm-hmm.
again, there are some other stuff that we have to do. And that's it. That's a challenging part because you have to be there and make sure that they are listened. Like I can understand you, I feel you, but again, this is how the world works. Understand that you are in a different position in this, even though like the regular people world works. But again,
Mm-hmm.
there's some stuff that you just have to play the game and make them understand that. And again, knowing when to push for it, when to let go, because there's no like right way to do everything. There's no rule
Mm-hmm.
book. So what I always said again as well is that sometimes you just have to let them do the wrong thing, because maybe it's the wrong thing for me, but not for them. And maybe
Yeah.
it even is the wrong thing for them. But some things you just learn by doing it. And you have to manage the risks of
Mm-hmm.
what they might do wrong. So if you want to let them have their own space and breathe and like expand in a certain way as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
you have to create a safe environment. Like, you want to do this, I don't agree, but we can manage it. There's like some bad things that are probably going to happen, but we can manage that. And these are the things that I understand that you would like to do, but we can't. This is going to jeopardy
Yes.
our deal, our project, our brand deal, your career, your content. This is like a no-no. This, I mean, not the best, but we can work it out.
Absolutely. And something that you mentioned, like that I think is really important for us, like, and for everyone to realize, like sometimes when they get like on those positions so young, and you said, like the people try to please them or everything like is a yes for them, like for their reality, they have never known something else. So that's their reality. At the end of the day, they might think that's like this for everyone when it's not. So that must be right super challenging for anyone managing those people, like to make them understand that life sometimes is different than this, and
Yeah,
maybe they will not stay all the time on that top level and then have everything. I mean, I wish they can, and I hope they will do that. But if they not, they need to understand that it's something else. And sometimes like the you have to balance both things, because otherwise you won't be able to, like, they'll crash. They'll crash against the wall and see life with like as a hard punch in the face, and it's going to be a wake up call that
yeah,
you as a manager needs to try to avoid it in the future. So I understand like the way you need to plan their future and help they understand that maybe like doing something different now, or maybe like lower a little bit your ego, so you will understand that um you won't crash later. So yeah, it's just helping them
yeah.
getting that level. And talking about this, do you have
Absolutely.
any? Oh, go ahead.
No, that I was just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Now, just like going on that line, do you think you ever made like some key decisions, or you have some dynamics that work it for you, like working with them, like, okay, I know like if I do this way, I may be able to make them understand this the other way. Do you have any tactics that you use to use that worked?
Ah, not any. I would say plenty, because again, and I'm going to talk a lot about myself right now,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the person that I am. And again, for me, it's always been about the person and the relationship between two people. So you have to take that on account. When you say like, oh, I have to, when they have to put their egos aside, sometimes I use it to live like with zero ego, zero, honestly, like 100% patience and 0% ego, because there's no room for that in the relationship that we were building with them. I didn't I couldn't put myself first in any kind of situation, because usually their world is so full of stuff and their ego tend to fill the space, that if you try and consider yourself in there as well, you are
Mm-hmm.
going to be creating some conflict that you could avoid. But again, that's me. Once I'm out of duty, it's like it never happened, to be 100% honest with you. They can call me names, they can say it's not working, they can be mad and all, and it's fine. Once we're done, we're done. I have my life to take care. I'm going to move on, and I have to focus and get my energy and a clear mind to solve and work on their strategy and their lives as a talent manager, first and foremost. So there's no room for my ego, just my intelligence, my capabilities, and my critical thinking of things. That's like
Mm-hmm.
uh, pretty pretty weird situation that you put yourself into sometimes. But again, all that because I tend to rationalize everything about the relationships that I build, especially in the work environment. So nothing comes free basically, and it all takes a toll mentally, because I'm always looking and analyzing the relationships that I build and how different people react to different inputs.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, that's my way of getting the most out of people and out of the relationships that I built, if with coworkers, with peers, with uh, bosses throughout my career, with partners, with talents, and all. Because each person works in a different way. So, for example, let's bring to example Nobru and Cerol, the two talents that I use it to manage, and spend like 3 years of my life doing that. They are partners, they are great friends, but they are very different human beings. So, for example, Cerol, when I use it to go to Cerol's house to work on something, I used to get there around like lunchtime when he usually woke up, and he would talk about everything but work, everything. So I'm building this new house. I'm building a gym. So now I'm hitting the gym and this and that. I bought a Lamborghini, and I want to travel. My daughter is just born, and blah 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 blah. And then it's like 8 p.m. That actually this happened once. It was 8 p.m. We were like in his gym, then in his new house that he was building. We went to a soccer game with him. He took us back to his place. Yeah, when he parked his car in the front way, he looked back with the
Mm-hmm.
car to me and he said, "Hey, did you manage to talk work that you wanted?" And I was like, "Of course not at all. I mean, we spent the whole day doing absolutely odd things." So
Mm-hmm.
that was like a 30-minute, 1 hour span at the end of the day when he was relaxed and he was in a good mood, and then we could like talk everything that we needed. That's part of the job. If I want to do it other way, I'm probably going to be frustrated. I got
Mm-hmm.
there by 2 p.m. and then da da da, and the entirety of the day I couldn't work and do da da. So this is the dynamics with Cerol. So I had to be there for him, be a good person, a likable person, a friend. We are great friends into the day, of course. And then when the timing is right, we can talk about work. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Nobru. I used it to go to his place. He was like watching some game in the TV in his bedroom. So I'll knock on the door. Hey man, can I come in? Yeah, sure. He was like lying on the bed, chilling. I would sit on the bed by his side and say, hey, with like all the things that I had to say with him. So this, okay, but okay, this and that. If there's something, I just like type it out. Okay, okay, okay. Like 15-minute talk. I would watch the game, say something about, oh, nice shooting. Okay. And he would like get back to me and say, do you have anything else? I was like, no. Oh, okay. You can go. Sure. That's it. Like 30
Straightforward,
minutes,
like
all done,
easy.
straightforward. Yeah. Like, don't waste my time. It's fine. Let's just do what we have to do. You have work
Mm-hmm.
to do after we talked. So, yeah, there's a lot of things about timing, when to say things, how to say it. There's a lot about like not the content of what you're saying, but the way that you are saying it can
Mm-hmm.
change and go your way. Like knowing when to push, because sometimes as well there are things that it has to be done, and maybe you aren't going to make it work the first time, so you have to try it again and again and again. But if you don't understand like the limits of when to do this follow-up, you are going to be like the annoying person. So
Yeah.
again, ego comes in, and they won't do it just because they don't want to. If you find that dynamic and it's very individual, it's going to work eventually. But again, you have to be prepared to analyze each and every uh, hint of happiness and openness and reactions that you get from the relationship that you're building to get the most out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, here what plays like key part for everything you said so far is the soft skills, something that you just have like a little bit. in yourself or with like your life, things that help in your life and help you develop that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's might be one of the keys. Like more, it's not being a time manager at the end of the day is more something that you cannot learn, you can understand how it's done, but it's a little bit like something you have in yourself. Like if you're not a people's person, you won't be able to do that because you need to, as I said, you need to understand how that person works, how he feels, and every talent is different. So as you said, like you went to Cerol's place, you maybe waste all day there and talking to him about a lot of stuff to get the work done at the end of the day. And Nobru, for example, you go there like 5 minutes, everything's done, and yeah, you can
Hmm.
get on with your day. So those are the kind of things like as I said, as I told you many times, like I've met a lot of time manager, and for me, like you're probably the best and one of the best for sure. When you thought what you've done and what you've done for them, because they at the end of the day they are where they are today because you had a lot of impact in their careers. Because maybe if you are not there, they will not be the same. Even if you guys not like working together anymore now because you role shift, and now you're going to get into that because you want to learn more about what you're doing right now. But even if like you had those changes, what you've done like those 3 years for sure will impact them like for all their lives. But yeah, I mean that's just like
Yeah,
as to you, and you can see like
thank you.
for the times we've been with them, you can see that they have like a piece of you there.
Thank you. I like to tell myself the lie as well. So I like to believe in that because, but again, they're they're their own person. And one thing that I always said it's that I was anxious for their future because I've
Hmm.
seen their maturing and they're evolving as
Yeah.
person, as human being. And I'm always looking forward to it so much. And I'm happy because even though our days and our work relationship isn't the same, we are great
Hmm.
friends. So I was just talking to Nobru this weekend, and I was at Cerol's last week. So I'm pretty happy and glad that we were able to stick with the friendship after
Yeah.
everything that we've been through. It goes to show that there's a part of what I've done that's been doing right.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I mean, I don't know many like people like after they break up their professional relationship, they still have a friendship as you guys do.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And yeah, let's go a little bit back and talk about a little bit more of your career now. So you started at Wall, and then you moved to Twitch. If I'm not wrong, no, to Twitch. You've been at IGC,
Yeah.
you've been at Garena,
Hmm.
and now
Hmm.
3C. So let's talk a little bit about 3C. You talk a little bit how you joined them, but yeah, let's go a little bit deeper. After that conversation that we went to Garena, so how did you came back to Renan and said, "Hey, Ran, I'm ready to join the team."
Okay, so I'm going to put you a little bit more on the personal side of our lives. I mean, especially
Hmm.
me and Rena, because we have been flirting to work together since I would say 2016. Because he was working at Twitch back in the day, I was working for Zubu and at Wall, and it was like, dude, you have to come work for Twitch. You have to be the salesperson for Twitch. Da da na na na, this and that. And when the move happened, Renan left Twitch, and everywhere he passed from that point on, we use it to chat and to get together. And he would say, "Hey, it's time for us to work together. It's time for you to join me. So it's time for you to join me." So he trying to pitch me to the esports team that he worked at. And when he worked at IGC, that's when it made sense for both the times in our careers. So he was like, "Yeah, that's the time we have this position as a sales manager. There isn't the sales team here at all. So what do you say?" I was like, "That makes sense. Let's work together finally." So that was our first run. So we worked together there for 2 years, I'd say. And when he left, after he said like, "Hey, so I want you to join me at 3C to be part of it because I trust you more than anybody to handle the relationship with the guys." And I was, as I mentioned, I was like concerned that it was a make or break, and I didn't
Yeah.
want to put him on a sensible spot. Like, oh, we didn't work with Matt, so what do we do now? We
Hmm.
just let go different ways, and that's it. So we saw the opportunity. When I say we, because we together we talking about the opportunity at Garena, and I used to say that was like kind of a boot camp because I went there to like understand all that I could and to study the market and the free fire environment, the influencers, the lives of those guys, what they like, what they don't, what moves them, until I was ready to rejoin. Like I always say rejoin, but to join effectively 3C Gaming, because my time at Garena was always talking to Renan as well. Like, so how's things there? How's everything? Tell me when the time is right for us to make the move. So when I saw that I did a great job there and I delivered that kind of projects and have acquired the knowledge that I wanted to, that's when I joined 3C. So it was a pretty natural move. I was already pretty familiar to Nobru and Cerol as well because of
Mm-hmm.
Garena. So it was like on a Friday, I was at the Fluxo Gaming House as Garena. On the Mondays, I was talking to them, hey, now I'm your manager as well. So things changed, but it's just better. Change it for the better, you know. And it was
Absolutely.
challenging at first, even though, again, we were familiar, but now it
Mm-hmm.
was the work itself. So to, to find and create our dynamics took time, of course, and to manage everything. That's a lot of stuff, a lot of new things to do and to understand. And again, to be available for them all the time, it was the challenging part on the beginning. But since then, it was been a great ride. So the 3 years, I'd say, that we spent together, it was some amazing years. I always say that I love those guys, and as I mentioned, a lot of people find it hard to work with talents and influencers because a lot of stuff. And usually, when I say that I miss the days, people tend to laugh it off, ha ha ha. And again, Renan, he's always like, no, he means it. Like this dude really likes it because I do. It was amazing.
Yeah, you did.
Again,
You did.
I could understand where it came from. So, and
Yeah.
here we are, 3 years at 3C Gaming.
I mean, that was a huge journey, like from the beginning to here and changing positions from sales to talent manager, and now you have a new position because you switched from where you were with them to now where you are. So can you explain to us a little bit like what's your role now and how like the new challenges that you have? Because of course it's
Mhm,
challenging again because you're starting over as like in a new position, so it's a new beginning for you. So can you explain to us a little bit
mhm.
how it's been challenging so far? How it's being so far?
Okay, absolutely. So we were the agency for Nobru and Cerol until late November. And then
Mhm.
from December on, we have to understand my position. One of the things that I was certain to do, and that I'm still doing, is the business development for international clients, which like you guys and Kidia, Riyadh in general. And that's something that's still on my road to manage. But besides that, we had a conversation that from the jobs that we've put out and the relationship that we have built with brands, I could be the right fit to lead the customer success team, the client services, right? So back in the day, our structure already had um, a person that was responsible for the team, but at the same time that the guys left, this guy had an offer, so he left the company as well. So there was the position, and it all made sense. It was pretty a natural move because similar to working with talents, when we work with brands, not on the sales side but on the services, the client services side, what you want to make sure that you do is that you be available for them, that you get the right answers in the right time, and you make sure you get the flow of communication and everything that you have to do for the project going, which is in a way a little bit kind
It's
of
pretty
like,
similar to what you've said, like what is dealing with influencers and talent. Like
yeah,
as you explained, like it's almost the same thing, but now instead of taking care, because at the end of the day, those guys are brands themselves as well.
yeah,
but
Yes,
they are
exactly.
one person. They don't have like huge structure
Exactly.
behind that to
That's it.
guide. And yeah, what do you prefer, to work with the talent or work with the companies?
All the talent, all the time. That's an easy one. Yeah, yeah. I gotta be honest. I mean, I love what we've built as 3C Gaming. I love the company that we have here, and I understand and I find joy in the work that I do today. But as I mentioned, when you work with talent, you can understand their reasons. You can understand what motivates them because it's a person. It's not like something a brand. Like
Mm-hmm.
a brand doesn't want anything. A brand wants what their marketing VP or their something, the CEO or something wants. So it's again, I like what comes from the inside. So that's what I like on working with talents. But to be honest, it's a little bit easier to work with brands because it's more straightforward. You don't have this mood shifts. You are not dependent on individual dynamics. You have a project, we have the project managers. So you want to make sure that the deal is good and the deliveries are on time and this and that, you know. It's more of a project managing role, and
Mm-hmm.
there comes with the the quality of building relationship that is like the best part of what I do. When I get the opportunity to meet with the clients, especially in person, that's the best part of the job, to be honest, because you start understanding the reasoning behind it. So it's very, very easier, and you are able to deliver a more consistent and a more effective project. Not only the content, but all the process that's involved. Then it comes down again to a little bit of the talent management and finding the fine tunes in the relationship and what to do and where to best get the results from the relationships that you built. So yeah, so it's been like 4 months now that I've been handling client services here. The another challenging part is that when I used it to work with Nobru, I was kind of a one man band. We had a content team that mostly created the content and editors and all this kind of stuff. But the daily basis, the daily routine, it was me with the guys themselves. Now I have a team of 4 people, so we have to manage them. You have to be a good manager because, again, I'm going to talk about the personal side of the relation. These people, they are trusted their careers and their time to us at 3C Gaming. So we are responsible for that. I have to understand that to be a good manager for them. I have to understand that there are different opportunities out in the market. There are different jobs, different people. Each one of those people, they have their own life. They want the quality of life. For one is working from home. For the other is being able to go to the gym every morning. You have to put that like in the perspective from their side, but as well as you have to make sure that you lead by example with the needs of the company, because not everybody can do what they want. That's not how it
Mm-hmm.
works. So how do you find a balance? And this is the most challenging, but again, the most fun and the best part of the role right now is managing people. It's really challenging, to be honest, more than I expected it to be, because when you look from the outside, you say, "Hey," because I already knew this person. I just didn't work
Mm-hmm.
with them. These people actually, I just didn't work with them. But I was like, "Huh, I think I understand this one. I think I can understand that one." Da, da, da. But when it comes to real life, you understand that they're different from what they made you see, they made you see. You know, that different motivations, different perspectives, different ambitions. So there's a lot of that you have to manage and to like juggle basically different people on the same team. They have to work on the same structure, even though they are individuals, and that's the most challenging part. And that's like, the most part of my day right now is finding this balance and creating a good environment and a strategy that makes it easier and fits for everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, for all you've seen, like managing people has been your thing and building relationships
Yeah,
throughout all your career. That's your thing. Like that. If I would say like how to define Matt, is like he knows how to build a relationship. He knows how to understand people and create nice collections. That's absolutely for sure. And talking a little bit more about 3C, how do you see 3C gaming now, like growing? Because now that you don't have Nobru and Cerol anymore, now that the company just shifted a little bit to somewhere else, how do you see the company growing, or how do you
yeah,
envision the future of the company?
yeah. That's the best part of what I do now. To be honest, I mean, I believe that not having the talent manager, the agent role, I
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit concerned that it might create a void in myself. But the challengings of the future of 3C gaming is what's driving me. Because again, as a partner of the company, you are the company. That's what I always say. You don't work for a company; you are the company, basically. So,
Mm-hmm.
what we are, what the way that we are headed now is that we are working with two different um, markets and we are pushing hard for them. One is gaming in general. So that's what we have been doing for quite a time now. I'd say 3.5 years, even before I joined. That's because we were founded to be the agent for Nobru, Cerol, and Fluxo. But there was an opportunity when it comes to sponsorships. We saw an opportunity to be more than that and be a gaming partner for the brands. So that's what we do today. That's our core business. We create strategies and projects, events, media, influencer campaigns, all inside the gaming and esports environment for brands that want to communicate with the audience. And with that, we also have a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, publishers and game developers that want to launch their games and want to get more people playing, watching, influencers, and all. So this is the core for 3C as an agency right now. So we build strategies, we are a gaming partner, and we are the like all hand 360 solution for game developers and publishers that want to work in Brazil and Latin America. And on the other side, what we have been doing a lot is working with iGaming. So it's like in Brazil specifically, there are a lot of uh, esports, uh, sports gambling companies. So you can bet on sports and keep the books. So we have been
Mm-hmm.
doing that a lot as it's something that was recently, like earlier this year, it was regulated in Brazil. So it's in the law and it's legal because there was like a gray zone in Brazil in the past years. But now there are some websites that you can bet on, and that as you know, it happens throughout the entirety of the world. But now sportsbook in Brazil, it's huge, it's legal, and we have been working as 3C Gaming pretty close to that. Me personally, I don't work for that because that's kind of a division that we built with the company. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a lot of the future of 3C Gaming for brands and for publishers and uh, at the gaming and esports ecosystem while there's another part of the company that's looking for this different client because again they are clients but they have a specific dynamic. At the beginning it was one of the same, but we understood that they have a very specific dynamic that they need to be taken care of. So the future of 3C gaming and the success of 3C gaming now relies on getting some gaming clients and gaming publishers and those brands to be some not like clients by campaign or
Mm-hmm.
by specific projects, but being their agency, their partner. That's where we are aiming right now to make them understand that gaming is another part of this marketing strategy, as is soccer in Brazil for a lot of them, or Gen Z, and you should work with games. And when you work with games, no one does games like we do. So you won't find it in a traditional marketing agency. You won't find it on a traditional tournament organizer because we are the hub. that connects all the parts together because of the expertise and at the time that we have in the market.
I mean, between you and Redan, that it's like, as you said, over like 10 years working the industry almost. And that's like huge amount of knowledge between you two and the other parts of the team as well. You, as you said, you understand all the sides of gaming because you've been part of Fluxo, which is an esports organization. You've worked with the talent, with Nobru and Cerol. We've worked with brands. We've helped brands to come to gaming,
Yep.
endemic brands, non-endemic brands. So you guys have like built all the ecosystem. You've been there as well. You have skinned the game, so that's absolutely like I think the great path, and you guys are moving really well on the right direction. So to conclude this nice one, for anyone that's looking to get into gaming career and follow like a similar career as you've done, you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I do. The advice that I always give is like take the first step, take the leap of faith. Gotta be honest, it's not like a market that's well established as some other markets that you can find tons of companies with career progression, career planning, and all of this and all of that. But the more you get involved in it, the more strategic you can envision your future and the roles that you can take on this industry. So when I say take the leap of faith, is like take the first step, start at something, even if it's not like huge or the biggest one, and it can be like a tournament organizer, an esports studio, an esports organization, a brand that's doing marketing for in esports and gaming, gaming development company, and there are jobs like for basically everything because these companies are growing and they're big. So there's marketing, there's legal, there's like uh, I don't know, finance, there's social, there's a lot of stuff, designing, and a lot of stuff that's happening right now. But don't accommodate, always try and find space out of your comfort zone all the time. Because once you accommodate, you stop looking and trying to understand where the future is going. And you have to be one step ahead. So take the first step and get out of your comfort zone the most that you can.
Yeah, that's great. Matt, thank you very much. Where people can find you? Do you like them to find your socials or email? Share it with them, like if they want more advice, if they want to work with you guys as well. So where they can find you?
They're free to reach me on email. It's matt@3c.gg. Anytime I'll be sure to find the time to answer everybody. Or on LinkedIn, it's Matt Pereira on LinkedIn, because on socials I'm personally moving a little bit away from socials lately. Yeah.
Yeah, you told me you were taking like a break from socials. How is it going?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it going good so far?
That's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing, to be honest, because I have to focus on my career and my family that's growing soon. So
Yeah, for
I
those
have to.
who don't know, Matt is going to be a dad very, very soon, like it's only 2 months from now.
3 months from now, girl dad, Eliza is coming. I can't wait, girl. That's like, yeah,
Nah, she's going
I
to be
can
a lucky
take
one.
the
I
smile.
told you already.
Yeah, I can take the smile out of my face when I talk about this. So I don't want to hijack
Absolutely.
this podcast with that.
No worries. So, Matt, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much, everyone, to joining us as well. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Yeah, see you soon. Bye bye.